India's labour landscape has undergone its biggest overhaul in decades. The long-pending 4 labour codes passed by the Parliament back in 2020 have finally come into force from today. Together, they replace or rationalise 29 existing labour laws, marking the start of a new labour law regime across the country. So what are these and what do they mean? Well, the 4 codes, the Code on Wages, the Industrial Relations Code, the Code on Social Security and the Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code. For example, for employees, the government says the reforms bring several key benefits. First, appointment letters will now have to be mandatory, ensuring formal documentation of work terms. Second, universal social security coverage has been expanded to include even gig and platform workers. These codes also guarantee the right to minimum wage and timely payment for all workers across sectors. Employees above the age of 40 will also be eligible for annual health checkups. Women will now be allowed to work night shifts across all sectors subject to safety conditions. And significantly, the Employee State Insurance Scheme will now have pan-India coverage, extending benefits even in areas where ESIC infrastructure is still being built. For gig workers, the new regime brings legal recognition for the first time. Aggregators such as ride-hailing, food delivery and e-commerce platforms will now be required to contribute 1 to 2% of their turnover to dedicated welfare funds aimed at improving social protection. For employers, the government says the codes will ease compliance. A single registration, a single license, a single return will replace multiple overlapping requirements across states and departments, a move that is expected to significantly cut administrative burden for companies. Well, to watch out for now is how smoothly industries transition to these codes in the coming months.
What does it take to build India's largest startup platform? It takes a journey of starting out as an unknown and ending up as unforgettable. It takes more than 2 decades of celebrating the most influential and influencing the most celebrated entrepreneurs. From chronicling the stories of India's startup universe to becoming a success story in itself, as India's longest-running show on startups and entrepreneurship.
Young Turks at 22. Only on CNBC-TV18 and CNBC-TV18.com.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in to CNBC-TV18. Make sure you follow us and stay updated on all our social media platforms.